Civil Rights and Liberties Latinx Rights documentary by Abigail and Yair. In 1924, the Border Patrol was created by the Congress. The Border Patrol Act consists of preventing the illegal entry of immigrants into the U.S., and it was established on May 28 of 1924. After this act was passed, Border Patrol expanded its officers and became very set on the idea of protecting America. There were two authorities in charge of the Border Patrol system, and one of them was placed in the Mexican border office of El Paso. Smuggling was often common in the Mexican border, and whiskey bootleggers were often found to slip their forbidden cargo across the Rio Grande. On February 17, 1929, the organization, the League of United Latin American Citizens, was established. During this time, it was the start of many organizations/groups that would get together in order to protest against discrimination and segregation among Latinos. It's been one of the longest and most impactful movements in society, and one of the main things that they have rooted for is equality and education. This group has been fighting for every immigrant's life and opening new opportunities for every Mexican American life. During World War II, the Latinx community was the largest serving group in the U.S. During this time, many Latinos got to prove themselves and their ability to be just as part of the military as anyone else. For a long time, Latinos were discriminated against for being immigrants or Mexican Americans, but after serving in the military, it opened many doors for them. The Fair Employment Practices Act was founded on June 25, 1941, which established the right for anyone to be able to work without their race being a problem. In these camps there was during World War II, many Latinx people faced a lot of racism and discrimination. Many Latinos enlisted themselves in the military, but also got drafted.
Mendez v. Westminster. In 1946, a family of California farmers sent their children to a local school. They were told that their children would have to enroll in a separate school for Mexican American students. This enraged the parents of Sylvia Mendez, who gathered similarly aggrieved parents from local districts to file a federal lawsuit against the district for discrimination based on ancestry and supposed language deficiency, which violated the children's 14th Amendment rights to equal protection under the law. On March 18, 1946, Judge Paul McCormick ruled in favor of the plaintiffs on the basis that the social, psychological, and pedagogical costs of segregated education were damaging to Mexican American students. Hernandez v. Texas. In Hernandez v. Texas, Pete Hernandez, a Mexican-American man, was convicted by an all-white jury in Jackson County, Texas, where no Hispanic person had served on any jury for the past 25 years, despite them making up over 14% of the population. His lawyer, Gustavo Garcia, argued that the exclusion of Hispanics from jury duty violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The state of Texas argued that it did not violate it, as the 14th Amendment only addressed racial discrimination, not ethnic or class-based discrimination. The Supreme Court unanimously voted in favor of Hernandez, arguing that excluding Hispanics from juries violated his constitutional rights and extended protections against ethnic discrimination under the 14th Amendment. This case is significant in Hispanic history as it marked the first time that the Supreme Court acknowledged that Hispanics, despite being legally classified as white, were entitled to protection from discrimination based on their ethnicity, reinforcing civil rights protections for Hispanics in the legal system.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a big milestone in history that made a huge impact on different racial groups such as the Latinx community. This affected the Latinx community because this act passed prohibiting discrimination against color, race, and culture. Not only this, but this was the way that Latinos gained a right to work and have more opportunities than they used to have. In 1993, Ellen Ochoa became the first Hispanic woman to go to space. Behind this, there was a lot of controversy, and many people thought she shouldn't have been there. This was a significant moment in history because Ellen was the first Hispanic woman to ever go to space. She had a lot of discouragement for her Hispanic heritage, and people thought she wouldn't make it, but she did not let that stop her.
Immigrants' Rights Protest. The 2006 Immigrants' Rights Protests successfully halted the passing of the harsh Sensenbrenner Bill, which aimed to criminalize undocumented immigrants and those who assisted them. The protests brought national attention to the importance of immigrant workers and their contributions to the U.S. economy, highlighting the need for more humane immigration policies. While they did not lead to immediate legislative change, the protests helped to start the movement for comprehensive immigration reform. The protests also encouraged ongoing activism and debate on immigration, laying the groundwork for future efforts to address the issue. The protests were especially impactful to Latinos, as many of the protesters were from Latino communities, drawing attention to the challenges faced by the undocumented Latino immigrants and their families. First Latina to become a Supreme Court justice. In 2009, Sonia Sotomayor became the first Latina and the third woman to become a Supreme Court justice. This was a major achievement for Latinos as it opened up a whole new world of opportunities for them, giving a lot of people the inspiration to pursue their dreams and showing them that anything is possible. Arizona v. United States. In the case Arizona v. United States, the Supreme Court reviewed Arizona's bill, SB 1070, a state law imposing immigration restrictions, and determined that federal law took precedence over 3 of its 4 provisions. The court struck down the provisions criminalizing unlawful presence and unauthorized work and allowing warrantless arrest with safeguards. The provision that was allowed was the Show Me Your Papers provision, which permits law enforcement to inspect the immigration status of an individual under reasonable suspicion.